Good afternoon or evening now. I'd like to get the meeting started. Opening items called to order.
Trustees present this evening are Trustee Arellano, Trustee Castillo, Trustee Calderon, Trustee Aviña, and Trustee Contreras. You have a full quorum.
Thank you. We'll do the Pledge of Allegiance of Mr. Jimenez. Could you please lead us into it?
Please place your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item B, comments from the public. The board will take any and all comments from the public related to an item on the agenda or in any other item on the district business that is not on the agenda. Do we have any? We have no items. Item C, consent agenda. All items appearing will be acted up on one motion without discussion unless any item is pulled for separate consideration and action. I will make a motion that we approve the consent agenda but pull item number 15 for discussion. If I could get a second.
I would like to make a suggestion, which wouldn't affect the voting, but I did notice that there's a couple of agreements on here with a not to exceed. And it's my understanding that once you reach that max, you need to bring it back to the board for approval. Maybe moving forward, if we could just do for the year without the not to exceed. I trust that administrators understand what the bid thresholds are, and you do your due diligence in choosing the vendors. So maybe forgetting the not to exceed and just bringing it for the year once. That's my suggestion, moving forward.
We could follow up with that, President Calderon.
Okay.
Trustee Calderon.
Yeah, that on that item, Ms. Calderon, is one of those areas that because the costs kept on going up and down on same items and things like that, the previous board, we had made motions to put the not to exceed amount, so that way they could, once they exceeded that, then they would bring the items back in.
Okay.
Thank you.
And I'll second your motion.
Have a motion by myself, second by Ms. Calderon. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Motion passes. 5-0. Item number 15, Mr. Jimenez, could you please provide us an explanation on the item for the food service delivery driver?
Yes, this is a request by an employee for a leave of absence without pay. This is a position that we utilize every day in our nutrition services program. So my information to the board is that this is a position that we can't do without, but it's a position that we have to fill, and so that we could complete our responsibilities in our nutrition services program.
Do I have any other questions? Do I have any other questions from any of the board members on this item?
No, I'll make a motion to approve the employment report as is, with the exception of the leave of absence without pay,
With the exception?
with the exception. Not approving the leave of absence without pay.
Oh, okay, so the report approved in full, the leave of absence is currently not to approve it, right?
Correct.
Okay, I'll second that motion. Have a first by Ms. Calderon, second by myself. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Motion passes 5-0. D, informational items, superintendent's report.
Thank you, President Contreras. I'm very excited to share, feel very proud of our CTE program. Last week, there was Imperial Valley program had their annual CTE showcase at the fairgrounds, and I'm very proud of our pathways who attended. Mr. Fisher with the automotive pathway, Mr. Nunez with culinary, and Mr. Camarillo with welding. Our students did a great job representing our school district, showcasing the amazing work that takes place in our CTE programs. Hopefully next year we'll be able to have more of our pathways, show off the great work that takes place in our career technical education programs as, even in our agriculture, farming, nursing. So many of our programs are entrepreneurship. They have so many great things to showcase, and they make us proud every day. So I was very excited. I know that some of our board members, Mr. Castillo attended, Ms. Calderon attended, and we're very, very proud of our students and our Calexico Bulldogs. I also like to share that on Saturday, January 25th, we held our second annual Parent Summit. Our parents had the opportunity to attend workshops on social emotional learning, safety, college and careers, technology, nutrition, and special education. I want to thank all of our staff from the FRC, the district office, our school administrators who work together to bring this great opportunity for our community. And I want to thank Blanche Charles Elementary School for hosting this event at their beautiful school facilities. Willie Moreno, that's right. I had that backwards. Willie Moreno, the annual basketball camp was at Blanche Charles. So we also had a thing. I want to thank our expanded learning program for hosting our annual basketball tournament at Blanche Charles, where our elementary students in the expanded learning program were given the opportunity to demonstrate their hot basketball moves, kind of like Michael Jordan. I hope I'm not dating myself too much with that. As always, thank you to our expanded learning staff for creating yet another exciting event for our students and community. I'd also like to thank our Office of College and Career for hosting the FAFSA Parent Student Workshop, assisting our Calexico High School seniors in completing the FAFSA application along with their college applications. So this is a great resource that we bring together our staff to help our students who are graduating from high school to complete their applications and graduate them from Calexico High School and move them on to their post-high school lives. So thank you so much for all of our staff who worked on that. I'm excited to share that last Friday we submitted 7 grant applications for the California Community Schools program. Currently, Willie Moreno, Mains, Rockwood, and Duo are designated California Community Schools. These 7 applications are for the rest of our schools in Calexico Unified. Grant writing, I've got personal experience of being a grant writer, and grant writing is never easy. It's a very tedious process. There's a lot of details that you got to pay attention to. So my hats off to all of our staff who work together to complete these 7 individual applications. Even though we're the same school district, they were 7 separate applications. So thank you to all of our staff who worked on writing that grant. And now it's a truly great achievement. Now we just wait optimistically for the results of our grant applications. And last but not least, on this past Tuesday, we held our first of 3 LCAP meetings. This meeting was held at Willie Moreno Junior High School, and was our first one. It was on academics and technology. The next one, which is going to be held on Tuesday, the 18th, is going to be on college and career and school climate. And the third one, which is going to be on the 25th, is going to be on parent engagement and safety. So we encourage our staff to, our community to attend our LCAP meetings. And then throughout the process, we also have other LCAP meetings to engage our associations, our CSCA and ACT, and get input from them as well. But these are our parent and community meetings that we have in the evenings after school for our parents and community. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Sure. Yes, when I say thank you to all of our staff at the FRC, district office, school administrators, all of our staff. There's hundreds of staff that could be individually acknowledged, but thank you to all of our staff. Thank you very much, Ms. Limon. Thank you. Item number 2, Measure Q update by Mr. Benjamin Horton. Okay.
Thank you, President Contreras. At this point, I'd like to ask Mr. De La Torre, Mr. Benjamin Horton. They have a brief presentation on Measure Q and some updates, and Ms. Minot as well to the podium, and they will be presenting some information on Measure Q.
Ladies first, so I'll, no, you got, no, but you have a commitment, so here we go, ma'am.
Good evening, everyone. Lorena Minor Montes, the newly appointed Vice Chair of the Measure Q, the newbie on the team. I'm glad to be here tonight.
Trustees, Mr. Jimenez and Ms. Bogos. I want to present myself as Vice Chair of the Measure Q. I still remember I was the Vice Chair. I'm the Chair now, and I want to say to this body, one of the things I'm going to adhere to is the bylaws, the resolution, and the duties of the committee. I want you to know that it's going to be the paramount of what we're going to do as a group. There will be no individuality stuff here. We're going to do it as a group, and our job is to support the trustees, to give you the information in order to make your decision, to work closely with Mr. Jimenez and Mr. Torres back here too. We're going to make this one of the finest schools, which it is now, in the Valley. I am proud to have got all my education from this school district, class of 1970. Nothing gives me more pleasure than to be here. I'm kind of losing my words here. Now I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Torres to give you an update of where we're at and the direction that we're going. Thank you so very much.
Good evening, everyone. President Contreras, trustees, Superintendent Jimenez, colleagues, and community out there. Thank you for being here. I was asked to give a brief presentation of the fiscal status of the Measure Q. But I first would like to thank Mr. Horton, thanks Minor for their participation. The Citizens Oversight Committee is made up of many more individuals. One of the great things that happens in these meetings is that we share ideas, we share information. And one of the things that happened at the very last meeting, it has happened before, but it happened at this meeting, our Oversight Committee members share their passion for the work, right? Their passion of their contribution, and they don't get paid for doing this. They do it out of the goodness of their heart, and they do it because they care about our students, and they care about our staff, and they care about our community. So I want to thank both of you here tonight, but also all of our committee oversights members. Thank you. So as all of you know, most of you know, the general obligation bonds were issued and approved in 2020. In this slide that you see here, and the bonds were for $47 million that our citizens approved for this work. The total revenues, as you can see there, that we have received thus far are $49,837,985, and you can see there at the very top. The bond was of $47 million. The difference there is that we have also been receiving interest, right? And all the interest that we receive, it continues to be invested in this project. On the right-hand side there, you see the current expenditure thus far, and thus far the expenditures are $9,189,465, which leaves us a working budget right now of $40,646,520. So all of the funds that were approved by our citizens have been accounted for, and more money has come in because of the interest. On the next slide, and I'm going to go a little bit deeper into this information, but on the next slide here, you'll be able to see by year the revenues, the bond proceeds, and then the interest that we have received from those monies that are invested by the Imperial County Treasurer's Office. In the last couple of years, when we talk about interest rates, there's two sides to it, right? If we're buying homes, if we're buying properties or cars, we don't like interest rates to increase. If we are saving money to build a facility like this, we like to see interest rates that are high. And so the Imperial County Treasurer's Office has been able to get us about a 3.3% return on investment on the way that they invest their money. So as you can see there, the expenditures thus far, as mentioned in the previous slide, are equal to $9.1 million, so $9,189,000. And so going back there again, the ending fund balance that we have as of January 23rd was that $40,646,000. I'm going to go a little bit deeper into this. Now, the community decided, the board, the community oversight, administration, a lot of smart people that were here and that are here, put together a working plan. And the working plan does include for us to leverage other funding sources as well. And so in those, on that top slide is the same, the top Excel sheet there is the same one from the previous page. It shows that we have the $40 million working capital. We also incorporate, as was designated, the impact fees or developer fees that our community pays to school districts as they prepare to build, whether they're building a home or whether they're building an ADU, to ensure that we have sufficient capacity for our students. And so taking a picture of today, you see that we have $1,094,000 to work with as well. Now, these funds have been saved to the extent possible for Measure Q. And then on the bottom there, you see which is the state reimbursement fund. In that fund, you see that today we have $14,985,000. These funds will continue to receive revenue from interest as well, but we wanted to provide you a picture in time. And so we do expect that as the money is invested by Imperial County Treasurer's Office, we could see about another $1 million to work with as well. But today we're giving you a picture of where we're at right now. So at the very bottom there, you see that the total revenues, the 40 million, the million, and the 14 million, we actually have a working budget of $56,726,000. So almost $57 million, right? So much more than the $47 million bond. The school district has been very strategic in looking to leverage these funds to make sure that we have sufficient funds to complete this project. Now, many years ago when this plan was put together, it was a different time in regards to inflation. So we know that inflation is challenging for us. The aggregate inflation, as we all know, is about 20% over the last 3 years. So what we could have purchased back in 2020 is different than what we can purchase today. But that's why we're leveraging other funds as well. So the original budget that was put together, it anticipated an expenditure of $65.4 million. And as you can see there, the total available revenues with what we have today and what we have spent thus far is $65.9 million. So we're actually a little bit above the expected revenue that we had when this plan was put together in 2020. The estimated revenues at that point in time was $69 million. So the plan was developed and expected to receive $69 million. What is it that didn't happen? What didn't happen was we were expecting a state reimbursement that didn't come through. But we continue to expect to have at least another $1 million from interest. So we're pretty close. We're there. Now, I'm not going to get too deep into what this project is about. I think all of us have, or all of you and all of us have seen what this project is about. But we're very, very, very excited about the new administration building, the new multi-purpose room and cafeteria building, the new construction of the 2 STEM buildings, and the new construction of the athletic field house, which is known as the dog house. Now, right now, we are working with our architect to ensure that we can afford to build all these things. We're looking at doing value engineering to make sure that we have sufficient funds to be able to build and come this to fruition. Right now, we're expecting to get started in May of this year, and our projected timeline right now is actually to complete the work by June of 2026. So that'll come very, very quickly. I do want to mention that we are very, very excited about the new A4 building. We have teachers in the new A4 building. We have some teachers that are just waiting for some cabinets to come in that are supposed to be here rather quickly. And then the rest of the teachers will be moved into A4 building. So when these additional buildings are done, we know that everybody will also be excited about getting into these new buildings and then moving them out of our temporary housing that we have right now. I don't know if you have any questions.
Thank you, Mr. De La Torre. When are we expecting the bids to be coming in to start the construction in May?
Right now, our Jimmy Sanders, our architect, is working with Alfred Beatty, and we expect them to come in anytime. Right, he said before the end of this month. So, they're working really hard to ensure that they execute as much value engineering as possible. We want to be able to provide the best quality facilities for our students and for our staff as well.
Because right now we're working off of estimates, right? What we think is going to cost, but we really won't know until those bids come in.
That is correct, yeah. Yeah. And again, inflation is one of the things that we are up against, right? What was estimated that we could purchase back in 2020 is a little bit different than what we can purchase. And we see that in our everyday life. Thank
So
you.
part of the value engineering is that purpose, right? Looking at what our current budget is and what we could truly afford in these days, right?
Correct. Right now, we can afford to spend $57 million, $58 million, because we know that we're going to be getting additional revenue from the interest of the money that's in the bank. And we're looking to leverage other internal resources as much as we can.
And we've been, if I could just add to that, we've been very, very intentional about getting to that approximately the projection right now to complete everything that is we wanted to do with Measure Q is about $65 million. We don't have the exact number yet, but we're approximating it right around that amount. Like Mr. De La Torre said, the bond that was passed by the Calexico community was for $47 million. And even though we've already done a lot of work under Measure Q, we've done the interim housing, we did the raw removal, we did the demolition, all to the tune of about $9 million. Nevertheless, we currently have $10 million more than the $47 million that the original bond was originally passed at $57 million. So we're being very, very deliberate and strategic about both our value engineering, but it also adding to that to our bond so that we could get closer to the total number that we're going to need to complete the full program. We're feeling very optimistic right now. We're feeling good about where we're at, and where our trajectory and where this is heading. Like I said, we started with 47 million. We spent 9 million, and we have 57 million. So I think that's, as Mr. De La Torre said, a lot of hard work that's been taking place since 2019 from people who were here and are still here, from people who were here are no longer here. And so it's been a very thoughtful process throughout. And just to add another update on A4. A4 is not Measure Q. A4 was leveraged through other funds. There was some last minute changes on the utilization of the A4 building as far as what type of classrooms they were going to be. And so we're very, very excited that we've been able to departmentalize a little bit more our social science department and dedicated the 8 classrooms of A4 upstairs classrooms just for social studies. But that required us to reconfigure 4 classrooms. Hot off the press as of today. The built-in furniture arrives tomorrow, and they give us a 3-day installation time frame. So we're looking at by next Wednesday, Thursday. those remaining classrooms are going to be completely done, and our teachers and students will be able to, fully move in, and the whole entire building will be completely utilized at that time.
What funds were used for A4?
We use ESSER funding.
Uh-huh.
We had a little bit over $21 million designated from ESSER funding.
Mhm.
We utilize all those funds. We leverage some LCAP funding as well. We leverage some of the state reimbursement, very little of it as well. But yeah, it was mostly ESSER.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the state reimbursements are a blessing. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe we don't have a facilities master plan in place, and that's going to be required, right? So where are we at with the
That
facilities
is-
master plan?
Yeah, that is correct. So we've actually been having conversations, discussions about creating a committee on a facilities master plan. We're also looking at to do a complete, thorough facilities master plan and look at our school district wide, all of our schools, and all our facility needs. Oftentimes, it is better or advised, recommended, to bring in a consultant that could help create a plan of that magnitude and of that level of detail. So that's something that we actually were discussing as late as today, and bringing recommendations to the board. We have worked with other firms in the past that have done a good job for us. We do have a facilities master plan draft that was created back in 2021.
It was
During
done in
COVID.
2020, 2021.
2020,
Yeah.
2021. We do, and maybe some of those items are still relevant and still pertain to today, but other items are no longer going to be relevant, right? So, for example, I know that in that plan, the Tesada gym roof was included in that plan. Well, we've already installed a brand new roof over Tesada gym just recently in these past a few months. The Willie Moreno cafeteria and gym roof was included in that plan. Well, we recently also have installed a brand new roof in those buildings as well. So it's taking a look at that at our last plan, looking at what's still relevant, what's not, but really creating a brand new plan moving forward.
Thank you for the report.
Thank you. I just one more thing, if you don't mind, and I won't explain any of these, but we do invite you to take a look on our website. These are the renditions of those exciting buildings that are going to be coming about. More information there. And then lastly, again, thank you to Mr. Horn, Ms. Minor, and to the Oversight Committee. They are they don't get paid. They do it for free, but they have a passion for what they do. So thank you.
Thank you. We'll move to item D, number 3. Board reports. These are informational reports by board members. No action is taken. We'll start with Mr. Arellano.
Good afternoon, everyone. I also had the opportunity to attend the annual parent summit at Willie Moreno. I just want to commend all the staffs that were involved in that event. I personally know how much time and effort and hard work it takes to create such events like the one they had on Saturday. So great work. Workshops were great. I just thank you, Ms. Limon, for the invite as well, and everyone who participated. I just wanted to thank everyone. Thank you.
Mr. Castillo.
Yes, again, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. I think it's been, 3 weeks now since we first started, Mr. Arellano and myself, and I know, I think certainly in that time, and I'm thankful and appreciative to be able to reconnect with different programs, staff, begin visiting some of the sites, and just kind of catching up in the district. So very good, and I want to share that I had the opportunity to begin visiting a site last week with Mr. Jimenez and Ms. Calderon as well. We visited the high school to do kind of a brief tour, visit some of the classrooms, take a look at A4 as well, look at the status and what was pending and timelines. So thank you for the update on that, Mr. Jimenez. And visit some of the other classrooms around. So it's good to be able to see the campus, walk through the CTE programs, A4 as well, and just the campus with Mr. Moreno. So I'm thankful for that and hope to do some more site visits.